Okay, my name's Akashi, guys, and in this video here we are going to be doing a tier list for Nappa and Vegeta, the new revival unit in the hit mobile game Dragon Ball Legends. We are only under a month away from the 6th anniversary, so there shouldn't be too much shifting, but of course the unit does have some impact because they are a revival unit. I don't really have much more to say, but as per usual, let me know how many Chronicles you guys got. If you're not saving, you're not gonna make it, man. You will never make it. You will never make it. But cool, let's get into this video. I don't need to do too much yapping. We got a tier list to make. But before we get into the tier list, we got to shout out the boy Dingy because he's the one that's making the tier list for everybody to use. If you want to make your own tier list as well, definitely go follow him on Twitter, DNGEE_YT, Dingy_YT. The tier list is here. You see the short URL. He makes the tier list, so if you want to make your own, you know where to go. He's close to 4,000 followers on Twitter, so go ahead and follow him, man. He deserves it. All right, so we got the tier list here. We got the main contenders for the tier list. They're putting honorable mentions, but they're going to be moved up accordingly so we can fill it up. I think the best way to go is to work in twos, so that we can just do it in like 5 and then it'll be fine. So we're going to start with the first two. I've got Ultra Golden Frieza and I've got Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now, Ultra Golden Frieza is terrorizing the game because Super 17 came off the boost. Since Super 17 came off the boost, there's been a gap in the market for Golden Frieza to just run freely. Super 17 can still cook, of course, but he's not the once dominant unit that he was when he was literally on the boost, pushing everybody. You could run Super 17 on any team and you'd be putting in pain. Now, that's not to say he can't be putting in pain now, but he's a bit more star reliant, especially on the defensive end. It's more so knowing how to use Super 17 that has shifted his usage from being blatantly top 1 to now he's kind of debatable within the top 3. So for me personally, Golden Frieza is a clear number 1 unit. He's being Zenkai buffed to the brim on his teams, and honestly, you'll probably see him every other game. He has a revival function. He does damage. He punishes you for killing him. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's too much. That's greedy. But of course, no matter how you look at it, whether you want to say it's unfair because he's Zenkai, but this unit here can extend his combos to the heavens. And that's ironic because he went to hell. So Golden Frieza number 1, I feel like that shouldn't really be debatable. But the reason I've got Gohan number 2 is because he has top 1, top 2 teams in the game. And he himself is so self-sufficient, but he also adds to the team. What I mean by adding to the team is when you're running him, you get those anti-blast cards, and since ever, they've been a lot more useful. Now, I do understand because of his element, he can be vulnerable to the number 1 unit in the game, but really and truly, I've seen a lot of people just run him on the leader slot with Golden Frieza, and he has his own teams which make him so good. People just running him on Son Family, people putting him on Hybrid Saiyans, people putting him on powerful opponents. Bro, no matter where you want to put Gohan, he works. He's going to give you those anti-blasts, explosive green cheese. He's got cover no. He's got endurance. It just adds to your team in so many ways. It's unreal. And let's not forget his blue card counter. It's just a safe option to have. Do not sleep on Gohan. If you want to put Super 17 above him, you can. Me personally, I'm not going to because I don't see Super 17 as much. On top of that, I think in general, if you just look at the rankings as well, people have just stopped using him because of the boost. So this is my top 2. Feel free to disagree, but I think it's pretty solid nonetheless. There's no real room for strong debates in my opinion. It would be maybe just because Super 17 can be super inconvenient in locking your blues and strikes. But I think throughout a whole game, Gohan puts a lot more pressure now than ever. If Super 17 was on boost, my opinion would be completely different, but for sure Gohan's just been putting in pain, and it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is, man. All right, next up we got 3 and 4. Number 3, just off me basically downplaying Super 17, he's still top 3 in the game nonetheless. Super 17 is just super reliable. One tap attack from him, one tap shot from him, you can't use half your deck unless you're using a full blast team, and even then blasts are slower than strikes, so it's going to be inconvenience. This guy will stop you from playing the game. Fair enough, his defenses are not as high as it used to be, but he still can do crazy damage nonetheless. I personally run him on androids all the time, and he still puts in a lot of pain. His ultimate does a lot of pain. His blue card puts in a lot of pain, and if he cover changes you, he's going to have another ultimate, which is obviously clean. But I haven't even mentioned the gem in his kit, which is his green card. If he catches you in that, it's still a guaranteed kill. So you got to be wary about that. Nonetheless, Super 17 is a good unit in the game, and he's fitting on powerful opponents if you do want to run him. He also has a lot of Zenkai buffs, so he's pretty much free to do a lot of damage. Just not as much as he would have when he was on the boost, but it's still enough to land him in a top 3 position in the meta. And then number 4, we got UI Goku. UI Goku, literally the best friend of this guy here. But because of his cover change thing where he stops you from being able to switch out, people have been putting UI Goku on literally any team in the game. You put him on powerful opponent in the same way I talked about Gohan, and that's enough for you to get a free kill. You try to switch out, No, no, no. UI is not letting that happen. Because as soon as you try to do that, he's got a free ultimate up your alley. If you've got endurance, he might pop the main, then he can nullify your endurance. It's really annoying. Obviously, he's also got the dodges, so that's also just a plus. He can stall. And then we got to also talk about the fact that he can't lose time those taps. I believe it's 2 times. He's not going to lose. He'd literally say, nah, I draw at least. He's not losing. He won't let it happen. So he's just a safe option. He also counts as the best unit in the game. That's a purple unit. It's almost a guaranteed kill getting the revival layer out or the comeback ability. Even though you will take damage from it because Golden Frieza's flipping asshole, you still be able to advance in the game, so you don't have to worry about that first layer of life from Golden Frieza. Specifically UI, I would say, is the best counter right now towards Golden Frieza if you're going to be using anybody. That's all I pretty much got to say. It's not much more to be said, to be honest. I think this is a solid top 4. It's super clean so far. If you want to swap these two, go ahead, but I personally got Gohan over Super 17, given that Super 17's come off the boost. Alright, so we got 5 and 6 now. Here's where I'm going to drag up 2 units, and I think they're also another interchangeable pair. We've got Vegeta, and we got Nappa. I said Nappa, Vegeta, Nappa, and we got Super Baby 2. Damn, my brain went slow there. But cool, these units could be interchangeable. I'd say Super Baby 2 could be interchangeable because he is like the biggest brick wall in the game. If they gave Super Baby 2 endurance, the game would be in a different state right now. It would be in a completely different state. But they didn't. But his gauge is already enough to put in a lot of work on its own. It literally stops you from pushing through. If you come into a high star Super Baby 2, it's a problem. He's also being used on every single team pretty much here. You can use him on Saiyans, you can use him on powerful opponents, you can use him on GT, and that's all tags that you see up here besides from like Gohan's team, which is Sun Family. But cool, so that's up to you. And his element being yellow, he only is threatened by Super 17, and Super 17 is making a lot less appearances, with mono purple being way more valuable because Super 17 is off the boost. So if you want to put Baby top 5, that's valid. I do not see any complaints with that. Now let's argue for Nappa and Vegeta. Nappa and Vegeta have the revival layer. That gives them a lot of stock off rip, and they pair well with a Golden Frieza. That's 2 revivals on one team. That is a really unstoppable force, but I'm not done. You got hella Zenkai buffs, you got a lot of motion right there. Straight away, you're tanky as hell, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage, you're protected, you got the layers of protection. But that's not really what makes me feel that this unit is a problem. In PvP recently, if you've been tapping into my streams, I was gonna sound like Laserdym saying scream. If you're tapping into my streams, you know that the biggest thing that inconveniences me personally is the fact that Golden Frieza increases your card cost. Anybody that increases your card cost is the biggest problem in the game, in my opinion, right now. If it stops you from playing, and if it's taking 89 ki for me to press a simple blast, that's a problem. But with this unit, if you play your cards right, you simply cannot fall to that. It doesn't let you, because this unit here has the nullify, reduce, increase key cost effect in his kit. So let's say Super 17 catches you using a green card, right? And your key is meant to reduce, you don't have to worry about that. And I believe he also has the card cost, it won't go up. But don't quote me on that. So pretty much Nappa and Vegeta are safe if you play your cards right, which is what makes them very, very useful. But what makes it worse is that they're being used on Golden Frieza's team. So then I could see the argument for having them above Super Baby 2, but I could also see the argument for having them below Super Baby 2. I think just for sake of agenda, I think this is the start of change. It's not the start of change, but I'm just saying that for agenda, I'm going to be on the Vegeta clan side. It took Nappa to give you guys a top 5 unit that wasn't carried by Goku. You know, shout out Evil Ken, but Goku putting in, like, Goku's not even the strongest on that unit, but if Goku wasn't on that unit would suck. Boo Bros even suck, so it's unfortunate. So for the sake of agenda, I'm going to keep Nappa and Vegeta top 5, just at the peak of top 5. But I can understand as well if you put Super Baby above. It's not really that big of a difference. It's not like Super Baby 2 is miles ahead of Nappa and Vegeta, because you could literally run mono purple and get the same tankiness effect that Super Baby 2 has, but with just more protection because this unit has revival. Either way you want to go about it, it's fine. You know, it's completely fine. But I'm going Nappa and Vegeta top 5, and then I'm going to put Super Baby 2 6, but I think those two are the biggest interchangeables on this whole list that we're going to have. Now we're moving forward to 7 and 8. I think 7 is a very clear option with GT, Son Fam, and Saiyans being very valuable. Bomb Q has to go up, the endurance factor, the healing factor, the solar flare, Kamehamehas, super good kit overall. He gets a lot of cover now as well, and if you have one unit on the enemy team, it's just a very safe option to remove the vanish, lock them in if there's 2 people alive. He's just a good unit as well, and he's a safe element being blue, only really threatened by Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, so you don't really have to worry too much. I think it's just a safe option if you wanted to run him. I think mostly people only run him on GT, but if you did want to put him on Saiyans or Sun Family, it's just a super good option. Safe element is really the biggest thing. If he was a different element, I think it could be a complete different discussion. Like, he could be way lower or higher. For example, if he was green, he'd probably be way lower, but if he was like yellow, he could be way higher. So just a safe option naturally, but no complaints about him, nothing wrong with him. He's just in a calm space. Number 7, I think, is nice for him. We got number 8 next. We got Beast Gohan. Beast Gohan, Sun Family hybrids. I think it's the simple fact that he's still really good and he pairs super well with Ultra Gohan. People really are relying on him if they don't have any of the new units. And even though they are relying on him because they don't have a lot of options, he still puts in the work. If Gohan dies and you're fighting a Hybrid Saiyan team, you're not free. You're not safe. You still have to be wary of Beast Gohan. Beast Gohan will 3v1 you in the same sense that this guy can. This guy's main ability 1v3 will lock your Rising Rush. So there you go. You have to actually fight the guy. You can't just press the Rising Rush. Like, he's actually really good. And he has hella Zenkai buffs when he's being run on Hybrid Saiyan. So that's another factor to not sleep on him. He's not exactly the Optimus Prime of this game anymore, but he's good enough to the point where he can carry a team, even though he's not the main fighting force in the team. He's also a pretty safe element. I mean, on the list so far, we only have 1 blue. So he's doing pretty good if we're thinking about it, but he is protected by Gohan. So if you do want to run a blue, you're probably going to run into him with Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, so you still have to worry, you know? So I think he's safe at 8. 8 is a pretty nice spot. It's no real downplay to him. It's just keeping him in the meta because he's being run with Sun Family or Hybrid Saiyan members. If those teams sucked, maybe he wouldn't be used as much. But regardless, like, he also gets the buffs from Pan, and his Zenkai buffs alone are enough. You could also use him on movies. I haven't seen people do that, but he's a melee type, right? Ultra Golden Frieza, people forget, but he's a movies unit too. So if you wanted to run like movies with Gohan and Golden Frieza, that could also work. He has the team options, but mostly people will just stick to Hybrid Saiyans because Gohan obviously is just a natural pick for him. But yeah, that's the number 7 and 8 spots on the tier list. Right, let's finish off this tier list. So we got 9 and 10. 9 and 10, we got 2 options here. I already know who I'm bringing up, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the honorable mentions later. So we're going to be dragging up Feetku first. Feetku is like a one-time use Super Baby 2. You know, when Super Baby 2's gauge fills, he stops you from comboing extra long, and he's going to take some of your keys. If you're going to break your combo, take your vanish, right? Besides from the vanish removal, this guy will destroy all your cards when you get him to like 50%, which is actually a big inconvenience. So he actually can stop you quite clearly, but he can also do a bit of damage, which is not to be slept on. He's a super tanky unit. He's also being used on Sun Family, so he has quite good Zenkai buffs. He has good support units on his team. He's actually being used on one of the best teams in the game. I remember checking the leaderboards, and a lot of people are going to ignore this. I don't know why people ignore this when I say you should check the leaderboards for the top rankers in the game. The top 30, around the top 30 rankers in the game, so the PvP players, they're all using this Feetku UI Goku Gohan team, which has super good potential, especially if you have decent stars on it. This guy also has an ultimate art. He has cover null. He's also a good support for the team, and he's able to inconvenience the enemy through life and death, coming like wedding vows, you know? So he's super safe option to run on your team if you are using Sun Family, if you are using Saiyans. I'm not saying he's like the best in the game, but a lot of people have been running him. And for a Zenkai, to be honest, they've been kind of cooking with some of these Zenkai. Shout out Red Cell. You're not making the list today though, but shout out Red Cell. They've been cooking with some of these 1% Sparking Zenkai, so we might have to just respect Feetku for this one. Some people might not see the vision, and a lot of people don't see the vision with a lot of things until late. But of course, PvP tells, the leaderboards tell, BR70 God rank specifically tells to some degree, so you should really just check the leaderboards for yourself to understand that a lot of God rankers, top 100 players are using this guy. So for good reason, he deserves to be on this list. And then number 10 spot, we got Goku and Bardock. I think a lot of their stock goes to the fact that their banner reran. I think if their banner never reran, a lot of people wouldn't be using them. But also in addition to that, UI Goku, he reran too. So you basically just have the free starter pack to build Saiyans, which is actually insane. Or Sun Family, whichever way you want to go. Naturally as well, because they're blue and green, they have a lot of Zenkai buffs, so they're being able to just, you know, be super buffed, like a supernova effect or something. They also have the indestructible, so they're pretty much safe. They got an explosive green, so they're pretty safe to cheese. Coming like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, father like son, you know, it's the whole family tree is just cheesing explosive greens. It's disgusting. Grandpa, dad, and son. Next thing we're gonna get is a Pan with an explosive green, and that's actually gonna annoy me. But cool. Yeah, blue card can nullify endurance. I think blue card's nullifying endurance is actually a sleeper feat in a lot of units kits. So naturally this unit is to be respected, but I think it's more so that they're getting carried by the team that they're on more than anything else. So yeah, but the unit's not bad, but it's just the fact that the team that they're on is really, really good. So I'm gonna respect them and put them at 10. But let's get into these honorable mentions. So let's talk about honorable mentions. Let's talk about Pan. I feel like Pan always deserves to be on honorable mentions. She's always being used to some degree just because she spawns a blue and a green. A green and I said a blue and no, blue and a green, yeah, I'm not tripping. So she's able to reduce sub counts, she's able to do blue card damage and reduce her own sub counts for the switch in when you do the blue card. She can also give the green card to somebody else, so she spawns it and then lets somebody else use it, which is obviously good. But she's really just a support unit and not really core. People just use her because she's reliable and not really endangering to anybody in the meta, not like she used to be. So if you do want to use her, she is a safe option, but really and truly, again, it's only like hybrid Saiyans or Sun family if you're really running Beast. She's like the partner for Beast, but in general, I wouldn't see people force her on other teams, so she doesn't have as much value as she used to have back in the day. So yeah, let's talk about Cell. He is literally, I said it earlier, he's the X that Super 17 can't get rid of. If you see Super 17, you'll probably see Cell. Not always, but because he Zenkai buffs to Super 17, he kind of comes as a pair. Now, with Super 17 off the boost, it's like the king of the team, he reduced in value, so this guy also reduced in value. You don't see Super 17 on just any team anymore. You might see him on androids and powerful opponents here and there, but there's better for powerful opponents teams to be run, so Cell is also not cutting it. Also, you might want to run Super 17 on GT more than anything else, so he can retain his top 3 status. But then Cell, he's kind of just been pushed to the side where he's been replaced by Zenkai buffers like Omega Shenron and 8 Vegeta due to how the teams are built. So even though Cell can be super useful and people never saw the value, he is like top 5 most used units in the game, which is insane. I think just in general, his value has actually declined now because Super 17 drops. So if Super 17 drops, Cell goes down too. They will kind of be in backpacked just of being like best friends or something. Let's talk about Jiren. Good Zenkai buffer for mono purple, but you just don't need him if you have Vegeta and Golden Frieza. I don't really need to elaborate on that. It's just a simple fact, if you have either or, you don't need Jiren. He's just a bench. But you can use them and have some value. Gold Frieza, powerful opponent is just a better option. Frieza Force is just a better option with like Nappa and Vegeta. So it's not that they're bad. You can still use them, get potential, but really and truly, you don't need to use them right now if you have Nappa, Vegeta, or Golden Frieza, and you'll be running First Form Frieza, unfortunately, even though they're not here on First Form, on the honorable mention. First Form's not here. Cell, just an aged android. I don't really need to talk into him. He should even be on honorable mentions, in my opinion. I'm going to drag him out. And MVP 17, he would be potentially top 10 in my opinion if he had a Zenkai buffer, but he doesn't. So that's just unfortunate. So I'm going to probably drag him out as well. I'd say only these guys here on honorable mentions, and that pretty much makes the list. So to conclude the list, we've got Ultra Golden Frieza 1, we got Gohan 2, Super 17 3 with these two interchangeable. We got UI Goku 4, Nappa and Vegeta 5, Super Baby 2 with these two interchangeable. Then we got Bomku 7, we got Beast Gohan 8, we got Feetku 9, and we got Goku and Bardock Barku 10 with these honorable mentions. I should probably order them. If I was gonna order them, I would order them like this. Yeah. No. Yeah, I'd order them like this. That's neat. That's neat. That's neat. That's going to be the end of the tier list. I'm not going to do the more complex tier list simply because we're pre-anniversary, so there's just no point. If we get another unit before the anniversary, which is very, very unlikely, then obviously we'll do another tier list, but I think we won't be getting any premium units. Maybe just like reruns. We might get something, but I doubt it, so don't expect anything. But let me know what you guys think of the tier list. I think it's an alright tier list. There's nothing bad with it. It's just pretty much a safe list. But of course, if you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. We passed 85,000 subscribers recently, and I don't think I said thank you, so appreciate all you guys' love and support. I'm gonna leave it like that though, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. My name's Akashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.